Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. Just me today, as every day, but it's games, movies, TV, stuff from the week when it was recorded, and anything else that's been going on. Before we get started, if I can just ask you a big favour, please consider like, share, subscribe, comment, and if you've got a spare moment, drop us a review. Let us know how much you enjoy the podcast. Right, let's get going. So here we go. This is CookieCast, Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello. Oh, how are you doing? Are you alright? Are you well? Good. Oh, one of those again. Little bit of procrastinating going on. It's always the same. Good intentions. Oh, get it done now, get it out of the way, get it sorted. And then something happens, and it's an hour later, and you're like, okay, there's an hour of time gone. 9 o'clock at night, drinking a coffee. Sounds like an amazing start. However, it does lead quite nicely into the first talking point for the week. I've been tired. Oh, real tired. Now, I've spoken about this before. Sometimes you write down stuff to put on a podcast, but you write it at the start of the week or earlier in the week, and then a week later you're looking at it like, why did I write that down? And you have to cast your mind back and be like, oh yeah, at that time that was the case. And this is one of those at the time that I wrote it, I was dealing with some crazy exhaustion. And it was only at a point where I'd say to one person, I'm just so tired, I just can't stand it, can't shake it, don't know what's going on, just tired. And then, you speak to somebody else, you say the same sort of thing, and, that's how it goes. And then you speak to somebody who sheds light on it. And I had a conversation earlier in the week, and I was like, I just don't get it. I'm just so tired. I just can't shake it. And they were like, well, it's a well-known, long-lasting side effect of the virus. And I was like, it never even dawned on me. It never even registered. Like, if I was struggling to breathe, I know somebody who's been having like horrific chest issues. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a side effect of the virus. If I was in that position, being like a heavy asthmatic, I'd be like, makes sense. Never dawned on me. A side effect of the virus, well-known side effect of the virus, is feeling exhausted. I've spoken over the last couple of weeks, certainly on the podcast, about changing my workout. And I've also seemed to have hit a point in time where there's a lot going on. A lot of stuff needs doing. A lot of physical stuff needs doing. There's been a couple of points in time where I've been like, I need to run and walk the dog, so I'll combine the two. That's always, can't explain it, it's always harder. And it's always quicker. There's been like that. There seems to have been like a lot of like physicality. Had a day last week. No, in fact, not today. No, not today, not yesterday, day before, Saturday. Did 20,000 steps way before the end of the day. I think I'd done something like, now then, what was it? It was like I'd done like 12,000 steps by 11 o'clock or something. Then I went into town, wandered around town, then walked the dog in the afternoon. Got back, was like, I'm 80 steps short of 20,000. Didn't set out to do that. That was just that day. That was just one of the things that was going on. Seems to have been a lot of that. But there does seem to have been a little bit of a break in feeling constantly tired, feeling constantly exhausted. This coming from a man who fell asleep on the sofa last night. But we'll get to a possible reason why that was. So yeah, been a little tired. Sometimes, a lot of the time, most of the time, I try my hardest, my damnedest, to be as honest as I can on the podcast. I know for a fact, I know full well that there are certain subjects that I have a tendency to shy away from, for various different reasons. And there are subjects that I don't shy away from. One of those subjects is weight, difficulties with weight loss, difficulties with like weight control, like eating control, exercise, working out, running. It all sort of ties together. So going back a little while now, as I've discussed, I lost a family member recently, and I was talking to a friend on Saturday, and I was like, the problem I've got is anytime anything happens, I go to my go-to, and my go-to is always food. Oh, I feel sad, I best eat something. Oh, I feel down, I best eat something. Oh, something went wrong, I best eat something. And there was a big chunk of time where that wasn't an option. That was like, well, whether you feel sad or down or something's gone wrong, you can't turn to food because we're not in that space right now. We're not doing that. That's not our thing. But losing a family member has affected me a lot, immensely. I was talking about it on Saturday, and realised through having the conversation that there are still elements that I'm dealing with. However, doesn't change the fact that I cracked, I fell off the wagon. The baking started. Now, any long times will know. Me and baking, it's a double-edged sword. It's one of the few things in this world that I can do. But then there's baking, and somebody's got to eat it. So there's that, which is never good. Then there was, holding my hands up on this one, there was takeaway. Now, I avoid takeaway like the plague because it's just the wrong thing for me. It used to be a staple in my life, in my diet. Used to be a staple. And as we know, I've basically given up eating pizza. But even up until a little while ago, takeaways weren't a thing. But in a pinch, if I, really had to have one, I would go with something smaller, a smaller item. So like I say, trying to be honest here, been a couple of takeaways in the last month, and that's not me, doing the reverse exaggeration. There have been a couple in a month, but that's a couple more than in a year. So you can see that kind of. Then we hit birthday season. Birthday season is difficult because birthday season brings cake. And, big birthday brings lots of cake. And it just seems to have been one thing after another, after another, after another. And every Monday, I step on the scales and I go, oh, okay, I've put on a couple of pounds from last week. And there's that part of me that goes, well, yeah, that makes sense. There's that part of me that's like, oh man, this was not the plan. And there's that part of me that's like, well, what exactly do you expect? And then we go about the day, we go about the week, we go about and then another Monday comes around and you step on scales, another couple of pounds. Well, yeah, that's what you expected. You're not surprised by this, are you? Another week goes by. I'm you can probably guess the pattern here. But a month of this and a month of a couple of pounds wasn't always a couple of pounds. A couple of pounds might have been £3. Before long, you step on the scales and you go, it's official. I've put on a stone. And that was kind of that. But it wasn't kind of that. As people who listen to this will know, I've been going through this sort of training thing with my brother-in-law. And it came to a point, there was a particular point with like the change in the workout, the change in like some running stuff, and like there's been a change. It's like, I need an update on your measurements. Height, weight, waist as a start. So I'm like, my height is this, my weight is this. Give me 2 seconds and I'll measure my waist. Not really thinking anything of it. So I get a message back, and it's along the lines of, I'll paraphrase for it, but it was, I'm really concerned for you because you've put on weight and your measurements have gone up. It's like, oh yeah, didn't maybe think of that at the time. I was just doing what I was doing. Didn't really think how me doing what I'm doing is affecting other people. We started out on this journey and one of us is dropping the ball. Like, balls. But definitely, absolutely, 100% the kick in the pants that I needed. So today, got rid of the intermittent fasting. Not completely, but just for today. So I had some breakfast for the first time in a long time. And what I mean by that is I had something to eat at 11 o'clock. Got back down with the, cut a few things out here, cut a few things out there, changed some portion sizes, made sure to eat, the good stuff that I have been eating, and just cut out the bad. So there, we're, fingers crossed, can get back on the horse, back on the wagon, and hopefully get back to moving in the right direction. Obviously, at this point now, I'm like, I've got a stone to lose before I even get anywhere near starting. I've got to get through a stone to get back to square one. This was probably not the smartest of moves. But every journey and all that, Every journey of 1,000 miles. So, I'm going to talk about something that's a little bit weird. I did a podcast. Now, that's probably not unusual. I think I had a look the other day, and I think that on iTunes, CookieCast is not rated as such, but CookieCast is listed as update frequency is daily, which I thought was a bit ambitious because that's not true. But, you know, when you're doing a week and you're doing 4 podcasts. But last week was the week I did 4 podcasts. One of those 4 podcasts was with somebody I've done a podcast with before. My friend Miles Watts actually released this evening. Unfortunately, when I say this evening, that's at time of recording. So, you know, go back 3 weeks from where you're getting this one, and it'll be there. But it was an opportunity for me to try a few things. I have this thing, you know, I always talk about Darkest Timeline podcast. Maybe one day I'll have a guest. And I never do. I think, you know, in all of the 150 whatever episodes, I don't think I've ever had a guest. So I had a guest. I did it as a bonus episode, and I had a guest. And I was like, do you know something? This is an opportunity to try something that I've always wanted to do, never really sort of managed to nail down. So I sat down and I spent some time writing a list of questions. Things that applied to myself and Miles together, things that applied to Miles and his career, things that applied to all of us. You know, things like how do you cope in a pandemic? Things we've got these potential future projects to discuss. So I wrote this list of questions, and I was like, I am going to attempt to do, and this will sound strange, but to do an actual podcast. Have a guest, ask them questions, get their answers, make it a conversation. And it's one of those things. I'm not a man that goes around blowing my own horn, tooting the old trumpet. I am not that man. But I was, and this is difficult for me to say, but I was very proud of the podcast that myself and Miles had achieved. I asked questions, he answered questions, we had conversations, we discussed stuff, we talked about things at length. Obviously, we have this problem that you've got these technological restraints by you have to keep stopping and starting Zoom. You can only get 40 minutes, but 40 minutes is never 40 minutes. It's more like half an hour. It goes like that. You know, you do an hour and a half podcast, you have to stop and start 3 times. When it comes to, like, you know, getting that podcast ready to release, you've got to do a lot of monkeying around with things. But I was really proud of what had been achieved. I've had multiple guests on the podcast over the years for multiple different reasons, but there are 2 guests that I've had on previously that I absolutely adore having on, or have had on. Miles is one of them. I think I said that in the podcast. And to have him back and to sort of get an update and that sort of stuff was really good. Was real fun. Was enjoyable. As you might be able to imagine, it's caused a little bit of a problem for me. And the problem is that I enjoyed it that much that I was like, this is, you know, cast your mind back to all those years ago before you started a podcast. And what did you want a podcast to be, and how did you want to do it, and what was it? And that was it. That was the aim. That was the goal. That was the kind of the point. And now I'm like, should I be doing more of that? Should I be getting more guests on? I have to hold my hands up on this one. There's been a couple of points in time where I've had the possibility of getting a couple of guests on, through fear, through I don't know if it would be good enough for a guest. I don't know if it would be, entertaining enough, whatever. I've shied away from getting those guests. And now I'm like, why have you done that? So what I'm saying is it's making me, reevaluate, I suppose, how I podcast. Maybe that. I had one of those moments where, because of so many podcasts in such a short space of time, there's like lead time. So you've got like the time it takes to, like what's known as top and tail, and turn one audio format into another audio format, like a usable format. And then if you've got the video as well, you need to incorporate the audio and the video and turn that into one thing. And then you've got to make that video available to go to YouTube. And there's a lot involved. And there's only so much time, and there's only so much time, like usually after you've done a podcast. If you start doing one at, 9 o'clock at night, you've only got so much time. So I was at work, physically at work in the office, and I sent Leanne a message. I was like, is there any chance you can do me a favour? Can you attempt to upload a podcast for me if I can walk you through it step by step? Yes, if you can walk me through it, I can certainly try. Fantastic. Number one, turn the computer on. The computer is broken. What do you mean the computer's broken? The screen is flickering, and it looks like this. She sent me a picture. Right. That's not good, but I can see from the corner that it's saying that you're in like a program. So come out of that program, and everything will be fine. Okay, I've done that, and it's not. Okay. Let's use the fix all for IT issues. Turn it off, wait 30 seconds, and turn it back on. No, it's still the same. Okay. Turn it off, and in half an hour, turn it back on. Half an hour later, no, it's still broken. Okay, so I spoke to Sam while I'm at work. Okay, PC's doing this. What do you suggest? Change the HDMI cable. Okay, Sam says change the HDMI cable. Okay, right, I've changed the cable, and it's still broken. Okay, Sam, any suggestions? Yeah, try a different monitor. Okay, try a different monitor. Okay, still broken. And all I could think at this point was, balls. And that's me self-editing. I'm trying to be better with my language these days. Oh, poop. The computer has died. I've got half a podcast on there that I won't be able to upload now. B, it's a super freaking expensive PC that I haven't had all that long that is apparently dead. I'm talking to Sam, and he's like, it could be anything. It could be a multitude of things. The graphics card could have given out. God. He's like, look, if need be, I'll come and look at it, but I can't do it today. I'm like, okay, I've still got a podcast that needs uploading. So he's like, look, if I'm honest, I think you're going to go home. I think you're going to turn it on and it'll be fine. And I said to him, do you know what? I think you're right. I think I'm going to go home, turn it on, and it will be fine. But it's all of the stuff that was going through my head. I can't afford to replace a PC. How am I going to recover all of the data that's on the PC? How am I going to get the podcasts that are on there off so that I can use a different device to try and upload them? how am I going to podcast moving forward? How am I going to upload stuff moving forward? It was like the end of the podcast road. I had to tell people that I had podcasts with, look, we can record something, but it might be a while before I get it uploaded. All of this. I get home. I'm like, okay. Think positively, which is unusual for me. So I turn the monitor on, turn the computer on, and everything was fine. I tried different HDMI cables, I tried different monitors, and everything was fine. There's been a couple of errors that have been popping up recently, and Sam thinks that something might be on its way out. But as I said, touch wood, at this point in time, it's working. So fingers crossed. Earlier, I mentioned that I fell asleep on the sofa last night. If you'd have given me £1 million and told me to bet on one thing, that's where I'd have put my money. Because, does anybody remember when I was like digging a big hole and laid a load of paving slabs, and then a few days later dug another hole and laid another couple of paving slabs to make that area even bigger? When the paving slabs were ordered, it took 10 to do the thing in the back garden, but 20 were ordered. Is this an error? Is this a mistake? Is this an accident? No, this was intentional, because some of them were needed for the front. Our drive, ever since we lived in this house, we've had this problem with the drive. The drive is designed for one car. Now, my drive will fit 3 cars, but really it's designed for one. What I mean by that is it's wider at the top. So the idea is, as you drive your car on, there's plenty of room either side to get in and out. We are a 2, and like I say, sometimes 3 car. And in the winter months, when that ground's all soggy and muddy, all you end up doing is dredging mud in and out of the house, in and out of the cars. Everything gets dirty. And every year it's been threatened or promised, or whatever you want to say, to dig that section up, lay a load of paving slabs. As easy as that, apparently. So I spent X amount of time yesterday digging up space enough for 5.5 paving slabs. There was a point where I was like, right, I'm going to psych myself up to do this job. Now, I know what you're thinking. Paving slabs, they're not light. No, they're not. Digging, it's not necessarily the easiest of jobs. No, it isn't. I can see why you're psyching yourself up. No, it wasn't that. I knew it was going to be heavy, and I knew it was going to be hard work. That wasn't why I was psyching myself up. What I was psyching myself up was the moment I stepped out of the front door with a spade, some gloves, a tape measure, and a variety of other things, I knew that one thing was going to happen. And that thing did in fact happen. Over the space of the next few hours, every single one of my neighbours came out of their house. All of them, barring one house, and I'm not even sure that neighbour's there. Every single one of them. My next door neighbour had to put something in his car. My other next door neighbour had to take his dog for a walk. The next door neighbour around from there, they had to put something in their garage, and then ended up in a conversation with my next door neighbour. A neighbour over the road decided that was the point in time to go and trim a very small piece of grass. Her neighbour down the road spent the entire time looking out of their window. And I'm just like, doing this job and I know that my ass is hanging out in my jeans because I keep bending over, but quite frankly, I'm using that as a metaphor right now. Took... How long did it take? I don't know, about 4 hours. Dig enough space for 5 paving slabs. Get them in, get them laid, get them sort of settled. One of them, or 1.5 of them, are doing my head in because it's not level. But it's not wobbly. And that was initially it was like, oh, that one's gone in real nice. It was only afterwards, later, when I took the dog for a walk, I was like, yeah, it's gone in real nice and it's not wobbly, but it's also not level with the drive. So now every time I walk out of the house, that's all I can see. Like, you're annoying me. So there we go. That was the week that was. I've got a right old mixed bag of stuff this week for the entertainment. A couple of films, a couple of TV series, some stand-up comedy, finally, and some computer games, one of which might come as a surprise. Just grab my water and we'll get stuck in. So, I watched a couple of movies. One was new and one was old. First movie of the list is Motherless Brooklyn, a film that I was interested to see. This is going to sound weird. I was really interested to see it, but not enough to watch it. Sounds weird enough? Yeah. Written and directed by Edward Norton. Now, I'm sure most people know that Edward Norton is... I don't know how to word it. Not a Hollywood favourite. Notoriously difficult to work with. Has a tendency to take over certain things. There are many, many stories of how hard he is to work with. And things like that. However, you can't deny that he is a good actor and has had some amazing roles. I think Motherless Brooklyn was very much an example of, well, fine, if you're not going to work with me, I'll do it myself. Hence, written and directed. It's what I would refer to as like a gumshoe kind of movie. Set... must be the 50s. And it's basically a murder mystery. Edward Norton plays a character who has what he would refer to as a broken brain. Basically, he's got Tourette's and he has the ability to, he's got a perfect memory, which helps with solving a mystery. There are all sorts of people in it. Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, Edward Norton, Ethan Suplee, lots of other people that you would recognise, let's put it that way. Something that's super weird is, and I'm not sure if I missed the reason for this, but Ethan Suplee is in it at the beginning, and then past a certain point, isn't in it anymore. Very strange. It was a good film. It was fine. It was a good film. There was this mystery. It got real. The mystery was very political. There was a lot of mayoral things. William Dafoe's in it. Willem Dafoe is in it as well. It was good. It was enjoyable. Not being the smartest man in the world, there were points in time where I was struggling to kind of keep up and see the point as well. But it was good. Good sort of good roundup at the end sort of thing. So there was that. The other day, Leanne said to me, I feel like we should watch a Johnny Depp film to show some kind of support / solidarity / whatever. And I was like, do you know something? I've got just the thing. Because I saw the other day that on one of the streaming services, there was a film that I haven't seen in years. Me and Leanne used to watch this years ago. We haven't seen it for ages. So I was like, here we go, perfect. So we watched the film Below. Now, like I say, film that me and Leanne used to watch a lot back in the day. I'm a big fan of that. The rise and fall, as I would call them, kind of movies. So I was like, there we go, perfect. Again, well, a weird connection here, but Ethan Suplee's in that film at the beginning, and then after a point, he isn't in it anymore. So put it on, watched it. Not a feel-good movie. Starts out great, starts out fine. Goes very quickly on the roller coaster goes very quickly on the up. And the down is just, not to spoil it if you've never seen it, but the down is just literally the rest of the film. Unfortunately for both myself and Leanne, we reached the end of the film both absolutely bawling our eyes out. I said to her, it might have been yesterday, it might have been today, I was like, I actually think I might have been traumatized by that film. Obviously, one of those things that when I would have watched it years ago, it wouldn't have had the same sort of effect on me. But yeah, there's like a point where the character in question becomes a dad and his life changes, and then just absolutely heartbreaking, kind of the rest of the film. And yeah, like I say, by then we were both just bawling. And then it finished and I was like, well, at least we picked a real feel-good movie to watch for a Saturday night. It's a great film. What I will say is, if you've got kids, it's going to hit you a lot harder than some other films, maybe. I honestly, I actually feel traumatized by watching it. It really, really hit home for me. It was quite painful to watch. Doesn't change the fact it's a very good film, based on a true story, that sort of thing. But yeah, a hard watch. TV series wise, again, was in a situation where wanted something to watch. Was flicking through Netflix, I think. Me and Leanne were in between things to watch, and I jokingly said we could always watch Spaced and see how that holds up these days. And her response was, yeah, go on, stick it on, see how it is. So over the last week, we've watched the first series of Spaced. Couple of things. One, stands up, still as funny as it was then. I have laughed all the way through all of the episodes. However, a word of warning, if this is making you think, Jesus, man, I gotta go and watch Spaced. It's been a while. It has not aged overly well. There are more than a couple of points where you're like, whoo, you definitely wouldn't get away with that now. So, yeah, just go careful there. Not entirely sure what's happened. Leanne doesn't seem overly interested in watching the second series. Don't know why, but that has meant that we have switched over to watching Moon Knight. Now, yes, everybody's been raving about Moon Knight. I will say this. I haven't watched any of the Marvel TV series at all. Didn't do Wanda, didn't do Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Haven't done Hawkeye, although that was one I did consider. Can't think of any of the others. Might be it. If I'm forgetting any, I'm sorry. Haven't watched any of them. However, felt like Moon Knight had the possibility of being a little bit more removed from you know, Wanda was from the films. Falcon and the Winter Soldier are both from the films. Hawkeye's from the films. Moon Knight, new to the screen hero. I was like, yeah, I kind of fancy that. Oscar Isaac, can't argue with Oscar Isaac. He's very good and stuff. So I was like, do you know what? This could be one for us. And like I say, some kind of reluctance to watch Space Season 2 has led us to watch the first 2 episodes of Moon Knight. Now, there is a reason that I generally don't really want to watch Marvel or any sort of superhero stuff that's TV show. Because TV shows suffer from the one thing that nobody wants. Not enough money. There isn't enough of a budget for TV. Oh, we're going to spend $300 million on this movie because it's going to make $1 billion. Simple maths right there. TV doesn't work the same, so you're not going to get a $300 million TV show. What you might get is $1 million an episode, but when it's 6 episodes, $6 million. And no matter how it's sliced, no matter how it's done, no matter what, the show always suffers for it because A, they can't afford the CG budget, B, they can't afford the set pieces. You know, the list is just endless. So there's a lot of cutting corners. There's a lot of things that you wish weren't that way. And Moon Knight is no different. We've already had to suffer through the invisible enemy fight, because obviously we don't want to have to pay for the CG to put the enemy in, so just make them invisible. That was painful. Leanne's not super on board. I'm a little bit more on board. I'm quite enjoying it, even though it's a bit like getting kicked in the balls every time there's a clear point in time that they've cut corners. There's a lot of talking, not a lot of action. It's certainly better than other things I've watched, where it's like, oh, that was 45 minutes of talking and 2 minutes of quote unquote action. I like it. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. The premise of this whole sort of split personality, like a split personality, but what the other one of your personalities is also a superhero, which is it's fun. It's cool. I know from any sort of previous involvement I've had with Moon Knight, he's basically mental, kind of hero that gives Deadpool a run for his money in the crazy stakes. So it's 6 episodes and I've already watched 2. So, third of the way there. Kind of looking forward to see where it goes. I don't think it's really going to do much damage to watch all 6. So we'll see. Obviously, I'll be reviewing it probably for the next couple of weeks, or certainly the next week at least. I mentioned before, finally, got some new stand-up to watch. And boy, let me tell you. So, Christina Pajinski, Mum Jeans. As some of you might know, Christina P, Tom Segura's wife, the other part of the Your Mum's House podcast duo, her and Tom, and stand-up comedian. Previously, we had the stand-up special Was it Mother Inferior or something? Balls. Well, we're at the computer. Christina P. Specials. Mother Inferior. There we go. So, Mother Inferior, back when she was pregnant, heavily pregnant, doing that special. Now, mother of 2 boys, and basically wants us to go back to the 80s when parenting was very different. I enjoyed her previous special. Watched it a couple of times. I enjoyed it. It was good. Put this on last night. Now, something I want to get out on Front Street that really annoyed me. Brand new stand-up special. Brand new. This mother should have been splashed all across Netflix. Nowhere to be found. I actually had to do a search for it. Came out yesterday. Not a sign of it anywhere. I had to do a search because I thought I got the date wrong. I had to double check the date. Did a search and eventually found it. Super poor show, Netflix. Super poor show. And I don't want to get too far into it, but this is not the first time I have seen something like this. Pretty sure they did this with the last special of Christina P's. And that's all I'm going to say, and I'm just going to leave it there. I don't want to get too much into this, but that's super poor show, Netflix. Put it on last night on a bit of a whim. I had a bit of time. So I was like, do you know what? I'm putting this on. I'm going to give it a whirl, see how it is. Stand-up specials, they're a bit like, watching the first episode of a TV show. Watch 10 minutes or so. If you're not laughing, there's no point in being there. The question is, was I laughing? And the answer is, holy shitballs was I. This is one of the specials that I've watched recently that goes straight to the top. Holy smokes. This was good. And this had me howling. Now, I've seen specials that have been good. I've seen specials that have made me laugh. I've seen specials that have made me laugh a lot. But I'm honestly going to go out on a limb and say I haven't watched a special in a good long while. Especially not sat on my own, where I've been howling with laughter. And it was one after another. Bang, 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 bang. Jokes, left, right and centre. All of them killers. Just absolutely fantastic. Do you know something? If I get this podcast finished in a reasonable timescale, I might even watch it again. It was good. I will definitely be watching it again, and it's definitely up there as straight in with a bullet. Big fave. So, well done, Christina P. You've absolutely knocked it out of the park with that one. I was just, proper blown away by it. Oh, I think my leg's gone to sleep. Oh, a bit of a stretch. Right. So, computer games. And again, one of these things is not like the others. So I'll have mentioned last week that I was playing Sniper Elite V2, which is a remaster of, I believe, Sniper Elite 2. Really good remaster. That's something I want to say. Really good remaster. It plays real well. It plays very much like a nowadays kind of game. I feel that the Sniper Elite kind of, the way they've done games, they've sort of really got, it's real tight. So ripe for a remaster. I never played it originally, so I was a big fan. Paid less than £20 for it, brand new. Everything's coming up gold here. I played it and I finished it. It was kind of linear. There was a little bit of a linear nature to it. The missions were kind of condensed. It was real single player mission focused gameplay, and I absolutely loved it. It was just exactly what I wanted. Let's strip out all the crap. Let's get rid of all of the bump. Let's just enjoy this game. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. I was all over it, and I loved it, and it was a great experience. Now, I think last week I probably mentioned that I was going to go straight back to playing Sniper Elite 4, because that's what had sparked all of this. There's a new one coming out, Sniper Elite 5. I've been watching some preview stuff for that, some trailers and stuff, and it looks great. Looking forward to it. So I'm like, right, I finished 2. Let's go to 4. That seems a little strange. There's something wrong with the maths there. Now, I own Sniper Elite 3. We've got a little bit of time to kill. We've got a month until the new one comes out. There's plenty of time to get through a couple of games. So I got the third one down. I installed it, ready to rock and roll. I was like, I can play the third one from start to finish, then jump into the fourth one, be nicely ready for number 5. Away we go. But there was a problem. And that problem was I forgot how much I thoroughly enjoyed Sniper Elite 3. To the point where when I played 4, I was like, yeah, it's good, yeah, it's great, yeah, it's got a few additions, yeah, it's a continuation, everything's great. There was something about it I didn't like because I enjoyed 3 so much. So putting 3 on and playing that, I was like, man, this game is good. It's so good that anybody I speak to that I know is a gamer, I'm like, what are you like with sniper games? Too much stealth for me. Don't you worry, Petal, I've got you covered. And then I proceed to try and sell them on the idea of the Sniper Elite games. I'm still playing it. I've had a couple of points in time where I've fully intended to sit down and play some game, and it just hasn't happened for one reason or another. One being falling asleep on the sofa. So that's that. This month's PlayStation Plus game for the PS5 is FIFA 22. And something that some of you may not know about me is every now and then I'm a little partial to a smidge of FIFA. I actually own a few FIFA games. I own some for the PS3. I own at least 1, if not 2, for the Xbox One. And I think I might own one for the PS4, or have owned one for the PS4. So there you go, something you may not know. I am a little partial to a FIFA game. So, technically free, if you want to look at it that way. I actually installed it. Normally I just add these games to my ever-growing library of games I'm never going to play because PlayStation Plus is generally garbage. And instead of just adding it to the library, I added it to the library and downloaded it and have played it. Played a couple of games. Problem I've had was it came up and it was like, here's your settings from previous games. And it was like this, that and the other. Your team is Man United. It's like, what? Again, something you may or may not know about me is when I was younger, when I was little, I was a mad Man United fan. But things change, and Man United are not doing all that well these days. So I then was like, right, I need to find myself a team to align myself with. And really struggled, because I was like, I don't know if I really have an affinity with any of these teams. What I will say at this point in time is I went with a team from the football podcast, and I'll leave it there. I basically feel a bit more of an affinity with the ones from the football podcasts. Some of the podcast teams I may have been to games of, so I felt I was a little bit more in line with those teams, or that particular team, and that was the team I picked. I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I did consider getting the lads round for a FIFA night, but as yet haven't arranged it. So we'll see. At some point it might just get deleted, so I can put something else on, like Sniper 5 maybe. There we go. That is the podcast. if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening along. You're my guy. You are the ones that make it all the way to the end, and I appreciate it. Till next time, I'll catch you later. So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another podcast gone. More podcasts to look forward to, hopefully. Thank you for joining me. And before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. If you've got spare time and you want to drop us a review, that would be amazing. You can check out our website, thecookiecast.com. We've got some social media links and an email button, so you can get in touch with us, let us know how you're getting on. And when are you coming on the podcast? Let us know. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.